Call the committee of the whole meeting to order. Let the record reflect, it is Tuesday, June 29th at 6:47 p.m. This meeting is being conducted pursuant to Governor Pritzker's Disaster Proclamation and Public Act 101-0640, which amends requirements to the Open Meetings Act due to COVID-19 pandemic. Although remote attendance is an option for the board, members are all present. Thus, we do not need to confirm the audio. All of the materials for this meeting are available on the village's website, and we recommend the members of the public follow the agenda as posted. For items with public comment, after members have spoken, I will forward the comment as follows. Once I, the chair, have a list of all public commenters, I will call on each person present at the meeting and afford them 3 minutes for their comment. Further time, up to an additional 3 minutes, may be granted by motion of the village board. The public was also provided with the opportunity to submit a request until noon today by email to clerksoffice@tinleypark.org or by placing a written request in the drop box at Village Hall to participate public via a live telephone call at the relevant portion of the public meeting. And the public was provided the opportunity to submit written comments until noon today by emailing their public comments to clerksoffice@tinleypark.org or by placing their written comment in the drop box at Village Hall. Written comments will not be read aloud. And finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Brennan.
Present.
Trustee Galante.
Here.
Trustee Mahoney.
Present.
Trustee Mueller.
Here.
Trustee Sullivan. Here. President Glutz.
Present.
Very good. Item number 2, consider approval of the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting held on June 15th, 2021. Is there such a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mike.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Bill, thank you very much. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item number 3, received cannabis update.
Thank you. A memo is in your packet outlining the cannabis dispensary discussion, particularly the village is re-examining our current ordinance that was adopted about a year ago in the understanding that cannabis dispensaries has been evolving. There's some recent licensing that will be increased by the state here this summer with a potential of 102 new licenses being dished out via a lottery by the state. And therefore, the village is looking at our current ordinances and seeing what is something to consider as far as amending to open up more opportunities for such use in our community. The village's ordinance basically limits dispensaries to the B2 and the B3 commercial zoning districts. And within those districts, there's also other conditions. They are not permitted by right, but via a special use. And in addition to the special use, they cannot be located within 400 feet of any public or private nursery school, preschool, secondary school, or daycare center. They also may not be located within 100 feet of the property line of a pre-existing property for residential purposes. We've limited the corridors to only those properties that have frontage on 159th Street, Harlem, and LaGrange. They must be a standalone building with no co-tenancy with other uses allowed. And in addition, they must meet required parking based on their needs. We've been continuing to have conversations with dispensary users that are interested in the area. And we've outlined for you some of the communications they provided to us as to what they're looking for. The building size does range, but they are looking at a minimum 6,000 square feet and could be up to 12,000 square feet. Parking is critical for their success, much like many other retailers. Parking is very critical. They want to be located on high visible commercial corridors, and there is a preference to purchase based on the restrictions due to federal law, which can prohibit a property owner from leasing to a cannabis dispensary. There's some restrictions on the the banks that may be lending or having mortgages on these properties. So those are some of the things that we've been hearing from the dispensary owners that we've been communicating that have shown interest in our community. There are current properties that do meet our current ordinance, but for whatever reason, right now, they're not able to accommodate a dispensary. So we're looking at some other options. I've outlined a few options. One would be to remove the standalone requirement. That would open up potentially more locations. There are existing shopping centers that could meet all of the other parameters listed in our regulations, being the zoning, the distance from residential, the parking. So that could be one step that would open up other options. Another option is to expand the designated zoning district. There is one commercial district that was excluded in the dispensaries, and that is the B1. There are 8 shopping centers in the B1 district that currently do have vacancies, and this would be in conjunction with removing the standalone requirement. However, almost all of these are located within 100 feet of residential property. So that would also have to be a change if that were to be considered. Another alternative would be to open it up to the office restricted industrial, the general manufacturing, and the mixed-use Devon Drive overlay districts. Also, the Rich Township Entertainment and Tourism Overlay District as well. Those are very specific overlay districts. It is possible that these districts could support a cannabis dispensary. Particularly with the industrial, the only concern we have is being able to meet the parking needs, but that could be, obviously the tenant will be looking at that as well. So, if the village were to amend the zoning districts into these office industrial districts, we would recommend that we just eliminate the corridor limitations in general and just leave it strictly to the zoning districts and keep all of the other parameters in place. And see where we can potentially then open up some other opportunities. Removing the distance from the property zone for residential uses, again, if this restriction were removed or modified, it could open up more properties only specifically in the B1 and potentially on the 159th Street corridor, which has the zoning, but also many of those centers are abutting residential properties. So this is the kind of steps we think we could take and would be looking for direction from the committee of the whole to direct staff on how to take the next steps, either with a zoning text amendment, which would have to go to Plan Commission.
Very good. Thank you, Kimberly. Any questions from the board? Comments?
Yeah, I can go first if you'd like, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
So Kimberly, I'm in favor of removing the standalone requirement and then opening up the districts to the B1 and the ORI, M1, MU. I think we let the market kind of decide where it wants to go. And by opening it up, I think that would be a good step in the right direction. I'm also okay with removing the mixed use or the shared property, so the standalone component. And like I said, just have the market decide where they want to be. After that, I think, we've made these special uses everywhere. So I think we continue that and we bring it before the board once the market decides where they'd like to be. And we have the conversations about the parking and all that other stuff. The zoning, in terms of the distance to the residential, I don't think we'd want to budge on that. I think that's a good rule that we set up, and I like that one. So I think we leave that one alone.
So I'm clear, you said B1 as well, is that correct?
Yes,
B1?
please.
Okay. So all the districts and then keep the residential.
Correct.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Trustee Mueller. Any other questions, comments from the board?
I'd have to concur with Trustee Mueller on all of his points. I agree with you.
Thank you, Bill.
Very good. Thanks, Bill.
And I know you said B1 district, that is, so as of right now, if something was there that would be close within that 100 feet of residential, so could you move forward with, say, not B1, but say B2, B3 districts?
We could, there is potential of property annexing or developing along LaGrange Road that is raw land that maybe would want a B1 zoning, but currently all the B1 zoning's correct, from what we could calculate, would not meet that distance requirement. But we could still make it a special use, but that would still be a standard they couldn't meet, so they wouldn't qualify.
And then B2, B3, are there schools that are close in proximity to those districts?
If there are, they would
Potentially.
be excluded, they wouldn't be allowed to apply, but most of our B2, B3 is along our major corridors of 159th and LaGrange and
Okay.
Harlem.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
And was the schools a state rule?
Yeah, that is something that they can't be
Yeah.
near anyway, so.
Very good. Do you need a motion to,
No, it wouldn't.
Or- do you need a motion for that, to move it forward, or no? Just doing an
I think
update?
I've got my direction, so my next steps are, I have to post a public hearing for the next plan commission meeting, and it'll be to remove the standalone, open this up to all the districts via special use, and then also we would remove the corridor limitations and just keep it with the zoning district.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Kimberly.
Kimberly.
Excellent. Item number 4, consider Route 45 utility easement. Back to you.
Thank you. Later this evening, we'll actually have 2 resolutions adopting these 2 separate agreements, but essentially talking about them holistically. The village had an initiative a few years ago to be proactive and look at allocating funds to bring water and sewer to an area of our community along LaGrange Road and 183rd Street that currently is lacking services. And because of that, that's been a major barrier for attracting development. It's a large cost for one individual property to take on its own. So plans were put forth. Baxter and Woodman was hired as the engineers to design the sewer system and water extension along with a lift station that would be needed. My understanding, this will, it will help the area tremendously with flow. So that's why it's also not just a commercial endeavor, but it'll be benefiting the residents. Through consistent, consistently staying in communication, we were able to get one of the major stakeholders who owns a good chunk of the property there, Loyola, to partner with the village. And they're partnering with us in that they are allowing us to use a portion of their property to have a permanent easement for a lift station on a parcel that abuts 183rd Street and the former LaGrange Road that is abandoned kind of right now on the north side of 183rd Street. A lift station will be constructed. In addition, they own another parcel closer to 179th Street and Chopin Drive, I think I said that right. We will be having easements there as well to physically run the water main on their property. And it'll then be a investment that will then allow those properties to eventually develop. And down the road, we would also be looking for those other properties to pay recapture to the village for that infrastructure. So we've been working diligently. They're on a tight time frame, so are we, to meet deadlines that we've established in the agreement. The first agreement that we have is that property there where the actual lift station will be constructed. It's a 70-foot wide by 70-foot wide easement for that construction. We have an obligation to have the lift station completed by May 31st of 2022 and the restoration by June 30th of 2022. If there's any unforeseen reasons that can't be met, this easement could be terminated. However, in talking with our engineers and John and Colby, we feel that once we get these easement documents approved, we can move very quickly. They are asking for the village to pay about $300 because the property is being farmed by a farmer, and so there will be some disruption to that area. And that there's also some language in there that if we disturb anything more, there's a $18.75 per square foot for any additional area that may be damaged due to the result of this project. In consideration of the easement, they are requesting a zoning letter, just verifying that a medical clinic and a medical office is permitted in our zoning code, which it is. But they would like that in writing, and we're happy to provide that document to them. I want to note that we are working on the legal descriptions that were given to us today by our engineers, and that's the only minor thing that might change with the agreement, but we do have those, and I think they were passed out this evening with the legal description of what the lift station easement will be, as well as getting the temporary construction easement. We need to hone that in a little bit more, and our engineers, so they can get that to us in the next couple of weeks. Essentially, that's the two agreements. They mimic each other, with the exception of the other agreement along 179th Street. There is no lift station. It's just the permanent easement for the water, for the water and sewer lines. The difference with that is slightly that the delivery dates are December 31st of 2021 for the water and sewer lines, and the restoration completed by March 31st of 2022. Other than that, I think, we're excited to see this project move forward. This has been a great partnership with Loyola. They have worked very diligently with us to get this going quickly. And if we can just finalize these easements, I think Baxter and Woman could move forward with the final design, and we could see construction happening here soon.
Very good. Thank you, Kimberly. I know this has been in the works for a long time, so
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing this to fruition. So, does any other members from the board have any questions or comments regarding this item?
Finance was okay with the $300? We're good? All right.
So this will be before the village board this evening for adoption.
Very good. Do I have a motion to move it to the board?
I'll make a motion to move both of the easement agreements to the village board
Very
later
good.
on today.
Thank you, trustee Mueller. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, trustee Sullivan.
Roll call for item number 4, trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Item number 5, consider appointment of Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund representative. Who wants to take it?
Very short, this is just to appoint Angela Rigo as the IMRF rep with Brad's retirement.
Very good. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Brad. Do I have a motion to move to the board?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, trustee Sullivan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, trustee Brady. Madam Clerk,
Roll
please call the
call.
roll.
Roll call for item number 5, trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 6, consider electrical aggregation options. Hannah?
Yes, I will take that one. Thank you, trustee Brennan. At the June 1st Committee of the Whole, the board discussed electrical aggregation, and the direction at that time was to stay with the current supplier, MC Squared, for a 3-year contract, while also receiving an additional $60,000 civic contribution. Unfortunately, since that discussion, our consultant NIMEC has let staff know that there has been some changes in the market. So in short, those changes have to do with capacity, which is essentially just an insurance policy to ensure that electric grids in Illinois have sufficient power available. So because of those changes, there's been some variation in the options, and we wanted to bring them back to the board for review. We can stay with MC Squared for a 1-year contract instead of a 3-year contract. If the board wants to stick with the current supplier, we would receive a $30,000 civic contribution if we stayed that route. Eligo would again be a 1-year contract. They are offering a $70,000 civic contribution. At first, they were going to offer $133,000, and then they've come down from that. So there has been some, some changes in what they're seeing. So again, we're just looking for some direction from the board as to how we want to move forward with this.
Very good. Thank you, Hannah. Does any member from the board have any questions, comments?
I'll just repeat what I said at the last cow. I think we should stick with MC squared moving forward, so gladly move that forward if we need to, but happy for other comments.
Dave, did you still want to,
It's up to the board. You know, this new information on contribution fees just came in. And so we talked to the consultant. We can wait 3 weeks. If the board has already decided they're going with MC squared, then the fact that the other company reduced the contribution really then is an irrelevant fact. So you could go ahead and move
Well-
it forward if you want to go with MC squared.
I don't think it was unanimous. I think me and
Yeah.
Dennis were on the opposite end of that one, so, you know, I'd like to wait a little bit. I mean, if we're not in a rush for this, so if,
We'll have to decide on at the
At the
July
next meeting.
20th meeting. though.
okay. Very good. Unless anyone else has any objections, and
Well,
we can still move it to the board tonight, so it's up
3
to you
weeks
guys.
July, that'd be fine.
Trustee Brady, what were you saying?
I was saying that that'd be fine to go to the meeting in July,
The 20th?
July 20th, yes.
And we
I'm fine with
do
that.
cow and then adopt.
Yes.
That's enough time, Hannah?
Yeah, July 20th is fine. That's, our consultant said that would give us enough time to make sure that the contract is signed and whatnot, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. All right, cool. No motion needed then. Well, moving on. Item number 7. Consider village historian appointment.
Sure. So this is also on the board agenda tonight. So with Brad's retirement tomorrow, he has volunteered to be our village historian. As we all know, Brad has most of the history of Tinley Park in his head. And we're glad that he's going to spend part of his retirement, hopefully not all of his retirement, getting that onto paper for us. So all that value that he has is written in permanent history. So this actually appointment allows him essentially the ability to come in and access records as needed, and obviously he'll have a publication that will be useful for our history.
Very good. Thank you, Dave. Any questions, comments from the board?
What are we gonna do about his desk?
His office.
I think,
The other part of his history is on the desk.
well, I just want to say thank you to Brad for all your years of service. This is quite a moment, and I know you dedicate a lot of time to the village, so thank you so much for your service and dedication to the village of Tinley. So, do I have a motion to move this item? to
I'll
the board?
move Brad to the village board meeting today.
Thank you, Trustee Mueller. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Trustee Brady.
I like
Clerk,
history.
Please call the roll.
Roll call for item number 7, village historian appointment. Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante. Yes. Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 8, consider amendment to committee ordinance 30.43 and 30.40 and consent agenda ordinance 30.005.
Yeah, sure, I'll take that also, Trustee Brennan. So this is a variety of ordinance changes that recognizes some of the changes we've made in committees, and also will let our consent agenda process run a little bit smoother. So the staff is recommending, right now, bids that are 50,000 or less are placed on the consent agenda, that be increased to $100,000. We still would be reviewing those bids at the COW meeting or a committee meeting. Right now, we can't put something on the consent agenda unless it's approved by a committee meeting on a previous night. As you know, we have now been doing our COWs and committees when they happen on the same night. So we're asking that provision be eliminated. We're also recommending that not just the trustees, but the president be allowed to remove items from the consent agenda at a meeting. Also, we're updating the standing committees, liaison relationships will now be appointed by the mayor with the support of the board, without naming assignments of specific commissions and committees. So all these ordinance changes are on the board agenda.
Very good. Thank you, Dave.
Do I have a couple questions?
Sure, go ahead, trustee Valente.
Just on the not having a specific night for meetings, I guess I would like to understand why we would want to do that. Wouldn't we want to have a set time so people can plan for those? I mean, I guess,
Well, again, you know, right now, any committee chair has the ability to, you know, have a committee meeting on the nights that the board meetings have. You can have it on an off night too, but the process we set in a while ago was to have those on the same nights. We've been doing a lot of this through committee of the whole, so the whole board can participate and be active. But that doesn't preclude any committee from meeting if they so desire.
the other question I guess I have is on the not having specific positions assigned to the committees and commissions? What does that entail?
You're talking about the liaison,
Mm-hmm.
basically, I mean, all we're suggesting is that they would be, they'd be appointed by the president without naming assignments of specific commissions and committees. So that's all, it would just be appointed based on, you know, the president's recommendation.
So if the finance chair, for instance,
Right.
could possibly not be assigned to the finance committee?
Could be assigned to whatever commission, yeah, is deemed appropriate.
What is driving the, want to have this change?
We've had, in the past few years, we've had different chairs, you know, that have been on different commissions that haven't necessarily lined up with the committee that they chair. So I think that just kind of recognizes that fact.
And this is just for the liaison, not for people that are volunteering to be on
Nothing to
these
do with the
boards?
commissions, yeah, the commission process is still, would be approved in the same way with the president recommending, the board approving.
Okay. And they would be assigned.
Yes, yeah, the board would approve the assignments of the commissioners.
Very good. Thank you, Dave. Any other questions from the board, comments? Very good. Do we have a motion to move item number 8 to the village board? Such a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Dennis.
Second?
Thank you, Bill. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
Very good, motion carries. Item number 9, consider a proposal from J&J Newell Contractor for TIF-funded sidewalk improvements for South Street and 174th Street.
Thank you, sir. This request is for utilization of TIF funds in the area of the boulevard, as you said, 174th and 67th Court. The extents of the boulevard project took around the areas of that side of the street. As Colby and myself walked the area, we realized there was some need for the sidewalks opposite of the project to be updated and repaired that were beyond the extent of the project. We are working in line with the contractor that was awarded for the lump sum for sidewalk and curb repairs, which is J&J Newell. They did submit a quote of $25,090.60. As you see in your exhibit, that is the areas that we are looking to have the sidewalks and curb repaired. So we're looking for committee approval and to move it to the board.
Very good. Thank you, John. I think it's, all the prices are matching what they're currently working on in the project, so I think this is a no-brainer, but is there a motion to move to the board?
So moved.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'll second.
Thank you, Colleen. Madam Clerk, you please call the roll.
Roll call for item number 9. Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item number 10, consider emergency medical services contract extension. Pat, you want to touch on that briefly?
Yeah, thanks, trustee Brennan. We're coming to the end of our 3-year contract with Kurt's AMR Ambulance. They've been with us now 7 years, and according to the last contract terms. We had the option, the board had the option of approving two-year extensions. And just based on their history, based on the last 16 months of getting through this pandemic and them performing with outstanding service, that we were able to negotiate a price for them with a 4-year extension if we opted to do that. So I think it would be a cost-saving measure in that aspect for the price and to keep the level of service that we currently have. They've done substantial amount of investment in their ambulances and equipment. And again, like I said, during this past 16 months, they were outstanding. They were outstanding during the vaccination center stand-up. They were alongside of us during that whole 4-month episode. So it's staff's recommendation that we would go with a 4-year extension for them.
Very good. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, I'd agree. I think this has definitely been a good partnership. I think the cost of what we're paying for this contract is dramatically lower than what we were in the past. So I think this has been a good partnership with Kurt's AMR. So I'll go ahead and make a motion to the board unless anyone else has any other comments.
Actually, can I
Sure.
just curious, when this came up before, there was issues with, being discussed with employees not being able to be retained or working too many hours, not being able to fill positions. Are there any of those issues still going on?
That's a great question, Trustee Galante. Yes, it is a systemic problem. The EMS industry is being devastated by staffing shortages. So this isn't a Kurt's AMR issue. This is a nationwide issue. They've done a remarkable job of trying to do that, and unfortunately, it's been met with, working overtime and double back shifts and to make it work. And it has worked, but it's unfortunate. Every company is experiencing this shortage, so it's not just a company or Kurt's AMR issue. It is a nationwide issue.
And will they be increasing the pay of the employees during this time period? I mean, from
Yeah.
higher than what it is?
Yeah, actually, their labor costs have gone up, so their labor costs have gone up just in the 3 years that they've started this contract. So they're averaging between 47 and 50,000 is the rate of pay right now.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It was around, it's 47 to 50,000 is their rate of pay right now.
And the only thing else I kind of want to say is that I don't really like the fact, I understand that they have a significant investment, but I do believe we should always be looking at bids. We should be making sure what else is out there, what's changed in the last 3 years. I think that's always important, but it's just my 2 cents.
Does anyone else have any other questions, comments from the board? I will make a motion to move item number 10 to the village board meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Mueller. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Moving on, public comment. Is there anyone that'd like to address the board? Let the record reflect there are none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Trustee Mueller. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Brady. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Motion to adjourn. Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. We are adjourned.